The height of modern boss killing, Lunar Lord version 2, holding a sub 20-second criminal world record and having enough mobility to one cycle grip chaser in under 2 minutes, while destroying every other boss in the game at insane speed, in part possible due to Berserk allowing the build to deal true damage, that M1 damage being the highest possible. It does all of this while managing to have a lot of HP and the versatility to run 3 different oaths and 3 different weapon types. Yes, every weapon can be viable in PvE due to the recent swing speed changes, but the weapon type that you do run matters a lot, because I've progged both the heavy and medium version, and while they have similar performance, they play very differently. So today I'll be covering these 3 stat orders for the sub versions and the 15 possible variations. Yes, there is that many ways to build Lunar Lord V2, depending on your preference. So make sure to like and subscribe, and join the Discord for the build maker link. A huge thank you to my channel members, especially those kind souls on the mega and super tiers. They get these videos early along with other members only videos. Now let's start off with the weapon type. It is a make or break for the build, so it's very important to understand what you should be running, because not many people fully understand weapons post swing speed changes. While I will have a full video in the future that dives into all the weapon choices you can make, I'm just going to be covering the specific stuff for Lunar Lord here. So your 3 options for different weapons are the Alloy Dawn Shot that you'll roll into Divine Flintlock, a Shatter Katana with poses, and an Evan Spear that you'll roll into the Divine Great Axe. Heavy is the best. I'll explain the others later, but basically on Lunar Lord V2, I was getting 1659 M1 damage with 25% multipliers and max chain. On top of this, Heavy has high range, meaning that it's unlikely to miss with your M1s, and it has high posture damage, making it good for fighting humanoids. But listen up for this next part. Shatter Katana with poses has the highest DPS, but it's hard to use. Astronomically hard. It deals 1,561 damage per M1 with the same buffs as before, but it can get around 10% more DPS than the Divine Axe at peak. So why is poses actually better? Well, what it's doing is it's scaling twice with chain. Sort of. While at max chain, you will get the most DPS on the build, but if you get hit even once, it will void all the damage that you've done, making it basically 0, regardless if you previously been hitting at max chain. Therefore, if you want to use a poses ring properly, you literally have to flawless the boss. And while this is easy on some, it's a lot harder on others. Not to mention, poses ring does not appear to work against World Serpent either, with the damage just voiding for no reason. But the second hardest part of using a poses ring is the sheathing aspect, because if you sheath too early, well then whatever you're fighting isn't dead, you'll likely lose your chain, and your DPS will plummet, making Heavy instantly better. But if you hit too many times, well then you're just better off running Heavy, because that's actually going to kill the target when it's at 0 HP. So in order to use poses properly, you not only have to know how to flawless everything in the game, but you have to know how many hits it takes to kill. With all of this, Heavy is just consistently better, because you're always getting good damage, and you'll instantly kill the target when it's dead. Although I will say poses ring just makes the clips look satisfying. I haven't fully progged a light version of Lunar Lord, so I can't say from first-hand experience how good it is. However, on paper, Divine Flintlock does have the highest DPS in the game, but from actual testing I've seen from people on their builds, it does not seem to out DPS medium or heavy. However, it does hit very fast, meaning that it can build chain quickly. Although I will say, even though I don't think it's the best, I've been wrong before. If you think I'm wrong, feel free to prog it and let me know how good guns actually are. So to quickly summarize, Heavy is generally the best, it does the most consistent damage and is easy to use. Medium could be better, but requires flawlessing a boss and perfect timing on the sheath, and Light has the fastest attacks and potentially highest DPS. But now that you hopefully understand what weapon you should choose, let's go over the 3 versions of Lunar Lord V2, the max offense, defense, and balance. I'll put the stat combat orders on screen like this, although the order post-shrine doesn't matter at all, since you can just kill Chaser, Primonon, or Ethiron to get knowledge. Just make sure that you do your weapon stat last. The 2.0 version has 30 agility for the In a Hurry talent. This just makes it so you can grip whatever you're fighting quicker. This is useful for Chaser or Duke speedrunning, since you can actually kill the target. The 2.1 loses 0.5% M1 damage, the In a Hurry talent, and Immolation, meaning that the grips are a little bit slower and you will take some more damage from Flame Within. However, in exchange, we are gaining 55 Charisma for Chaotic Charm, meaning that you're going to be taking less damage when you're low. And the 2.2 version trades off 3.5% M1 damage from version 2.0. However, you gain 31% more HP due to the 50 Fort pre-shrine. The other downsides are that you can't go Soulbreaker on this version, and you do use Neuroplasticity. However, this won't really affect you if you're a more casual player who doesn't care about top tier times. So whatever subversion you pick is honestly just up to preference, because relatively speaking, they're all about the same power. We'll go over the Oath choice on the builds in a second, but I want to give you some progression tips first, just so I can help save you a Moon's-Eye Tome on the build. Depending on your subversion, you'll be shrining around power 14 to 15, meaning that you should expect about 20 knowledge on the build. This is enough to do 2 rolls at Shrine of Chance or Temptation, with enough knowledge left to Shrine of Order. Most importantly on this build, do not do Trial of 1. The Ignition Union Origin is the best origin, since you can do faster layer 2s. However, in Trial of 1, since you're not the Lone Warrior origin, you won't be able to use Mystic, therefore you'll likely miss out on important mantras that you need. I did Trial of 1 in my video, just because I need to make it entertaining, and I have the safety net of a Moon's-Eye Tome, but for you at home, I don't recommend it. What you can do instead is spawn in on the surface, go through the speed gate to get to Vigils, and then do the mantra quest while there. You want to try to get a 0-star flame mantra, so either Burning Servants or Fireblade, and then you can just train wherever you like to prog in order to level up your flame charm. Then you just repeat this by getting 0 stars for the other 2 attunements, Gale and Thundercall. Worst case, you can just get up to 60 strength in order to get mantras. However, you should always be saving 80 till last, since at 80 strength you only need to get Berserker, and you can just Mystic and Shrine of Chance for that. The prompt is something along the lines of, I seek the qualities of a Berserker. Worst case, you can do the Ghost quest in layer 2, kill Bonekeeper, and start the Authority quest for 5 knowledge in total. This will just give you 1 extra roll. I also recommend that you don't prog Vow of Thorns, as I've honestly stopped doing it and I notice no XP difference. Post-shrine, you can just do whatever order you like since Ethiron exists, or other bosses if you're a bit newer. These are the configs for the mantras that you should be running depending on what you're doing. The total mantras is slightly different for the 2.2 version, if you're going Blade Harper or Oathless. I'll leave a list of the modifiers in my Discord, since I can easily edit that list there and not on YouTube, due to the fact the meta does sometimes shift depending on what devs do to modifiers. Now, before we discuss how to actually play the build, what oath should you pick? Because there is 3 to choose from: Soulbreaker, Oathless, and Blade Harper. Soulbreaker is plus 3 mantra slots. On top of that, it has a grip faster than Reaper, meaning that it's optimal for speedrunning bosses like Chaser or Ethiron. The oath also gives you Auto Scream, which can also proc for free whenever you grip something. This oath also gives you Tacet, meaning if you're running away from someone, you can go invisible to hide. Sadly, the 2.2 version does not meet the requirements of this oath, so you'll have to pick the other 2. One of those 2 being the Oathless oath, giving you 3 wildcard slots and 10 HP for free. The good thing about Oathless is it's easy to get and has absolutely no requirements at all, meaning that it's splashable on any build you want. Now, the final oath is actually Blade Harper, giving you 2 combat mantra slots. The reason that you'd pick this is because it makes Lunar Lord pretty good for PvP. Blade Harper is an extremely strong oath, in part due to stuff like its uppercut dealing extra damage. And you know, if you stack that extra damage with Berserk, ignoring all armor, and a ton of other damage buffs, then you can kill people extremely fast. Not to mention, depending on what version of Lunar Lord you prog, Lunar Lord can also take a hit. This is just a good oath if you're doing something in depths or Primonon and want to be able to fight back against people. Oath choice doesn't really matter at all on this build, so you can just pick whatever you like the most. Now obviously there isn't 15 build makers in my Discord. I've only kept it to the 9 for the 3 subversions and 3 different weapon types. So depending on what oath you want to prog, you just change it to that oath on the build maker. There's no additional talents that come along with it, apart from the oath talents, so it's pretty easy to do. Now for some final info on the build, you want to make sure that you're using M1 damage buff food, so you want to get the burgers from Etreus in order to get a 5% damage buff. You'll equip a Warlock's Mantle, giving you the overflowing damn talent. Because we're not auto screaming on this build, you'll basically always be at full ether. Then you equip an Ishin's Ring to gain 20% more damage. And as for your activated damage buffs, you'll have Berserk, letting you deal true damage. You want to be careful when you activate this, because if you activate this while you could get hit, then you're going to suffer the downsides. So an example of where you shouldn't activate it would be Duke's Shield phase, but when his shield breaks, you do toggle on Berserk. Then you have Flame Within that procs Charged Return, Raging Static for 20% more damage, Inhale for 10%, Taunt for 20%, and Lightning Cloak for a 10% swing speed boost. Combining all of these, you have the strongest M1 build in Deepwoken, capable of absolutely shredding through any boss in your path, while being crazy mobile and having a ton of HP. The Lunar V2 is incredibly powerful, so if you enjoyed this build and want to see more PvEs like this, make sure to like and subscribe and join the Discord for the build maker link. Once again, a huge thank you to my channel members, especially those kind souls on the Mega and Super tiers. Check out some more PvE content, and I'll see you all next time.